Commander Lee Hanna gripped the railing of the bridge as the massive alien fleet stretched endlessly before her. The Resilience had never felt smaller than it did now, surrounded by thousands of ships belonging to the 7 species that ruled the galaxy. This was supposed to be humanity's moment of triumph, their first joint military exercise as the newest members of the Galactic Council. "Captain Park Jimin, how many ships do we have in formation?" Hannah asked, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. 300 vessels from all 12 human colonies, Commander. Every single warship we possess, Park answered, unable to hide his excitement. The Council specifically requested our complete fleet for this training demonstration. The sight should have filled Hannah with pride. After 50 years of sending diplomatic messages into the void, humanity had finally received an answer. The Ancient Council had not only welcomed them, but offered incredible gifts, faster than light travel, energy shields, and now this unprecedented honor of joint military cooperation. Admiral Kethfer of the Hegemony had personally met with Hannah just 3 days ago. The towering alien, with his 4 arms and crystalline skin, had spoken of humanity's potential. "Your species shows remarkable adaptability," he had said through his translator. "No. This exercise will prove you are ready for full citizenship among the stars." Dr. Kim Minho approached from the science station, his tablet glowing with tactical data. The young scientist looked troubled as he studied the fleet positions. "Commander, I need to show you something about our formation." Hannah followed him to the holographic display showing the exercise area. Thousands of council ships formed a perfect sphere around the human fleet. It looked impressive, almost ceremonial, but something about it made Kim uncomfortable. "Look at the positioning," Kim said, pointing to the display. "They've placed us in the center of what appears to be a standard training formation. But if you analyze the firing angles and weapon ranges, ... What are you suggesting, Doctor?" Hannah asked, though she was beginning to feel the same unease. "I'm probably wrong, but this formation would be perfect for a coordinated attack. Every council ship has clear lines of fire on our position, while we're bunched together with limited escape routes." Hannah studied the display more carefully. The council ships outnumbered them 50-1, which was expected. But their positioning seemed too precise, too carefully planned for a simple training exercise. Still, she couldn't voice such suspicions. Humanity had worked too hard to earn their place here. "Keep monitoring, but don't alert the crew," she ordered. "We're guests here, and I won't insult our hosts with paranoid theories." Meanwhile, deep within the Hegemony flagship, Admiral Kethfer stood before a secure communication array. The images of 6 other council leaders flickered before him, each representing one of the ancient species that had ruled the galaxy for millennia. "The human fleet is in position," Kethfer reported, his voice carrying none of the warmth he had shown Hannah. "All 300 vessels are gathered as requested. They suspect nothing." "Excellent," replied Vexandra of the Synthesis Union, her serpentine form coiling with satisfaction. "The humans have proven far more dangerous than we initially calculated. Their technological advancement in just 50 years rivals our own millennium of development." "They call it adaptability," growled Throckmor of the Stone Clans. "We call it a threat to the natural order. No species should advance so quickly." Kethfer nodded grimly. The Council had watched humanity's progress with growing alarm. In just 5 decades, humans had gone from primitive chemical rockets to building faster-than-light vessels. Their military tactics were unpredictable, their technology innovative in ways that concerned the established powers. "The other human colonies?" asked Silthera of the Void Touched. "Strike teams are already in position," Kethfer confirmed. "Every human world, every outpost, every ship not gathered here will be destroyed simultaneously. We cannot allow any survivors to carry word of what happens today." "And the humans believe this is a training exercise?" Vexandra asked. "They trust us completely. Commander Hannah actually thanked me for the honor of including their entire fleet. They have no idea they've gathered their entire military force." For their own execution, the other council members expressed their approval. The decision had been unanimous. Humanity represented too great a threat to the established galactic order. Their rapid technological advancement, combined with their unpredictable nature, made them too dangerous to coexist with. "Begin the attack." "In 10 minutes," Kethfer ordered. Make it quick. I want no human ships to escape and warn their colonies. Back on the Resilience, Commander Hannah felt her unease growing. The Council ships had been gradually tightening their formation. Moving closer under the guise of preparation for the exercise, Dr. Kim's concerns no longer seemed paranoid. Commander Captain Park called out, "We're receiving a message from Admiral Kethfer. He says the exercise is about to begin." Hannah looked out at the alien fleet surrounding them. Every instinct screamed danger, but humanity had sacrificed too much to reach this moment. They had sent their best diplomats, their finest scientists, their most precious resources to earn a place among the stars. "All stations prepare for exercise commencement," she ordered. Praying her suspicions were wrong, the trap was perfectly set. Humanity's entire military strength floated helplessly in space, surrounded by overwhelming enemy force, waiting for the betrayal that would change everything. The first energy blast struck the Resilience without any warning at all. "Commander?" Hannah was thrown against the command console as the ship's shields flared bright blue and then shattered like glass. Around her, the bridge erupted in sparks and alarms as more weapons fire poured in from every direction. "What's happening?" she yelled, pulling herself back to her feet. Captain Park Hyman's face was pale as he gripped his station. "Commander, all Council ships are firing on us. This isn't a drill." Through the viewport, Hannah could see the terrible truth. Thousands of alien vessels that had surrounded them in friendship were now unleashing devastating firepower. The human fleet, caught completely off guard, was being torn apart. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes of light, while others spun helplessly with their engines destroyed. "Battle stations. All hands to battle stations," Hannah commanded, though she knew it was already too late. It had been positioned perfectly for slaughter. No room to maneuver and no chance to escape. Lieutenant Yoon Sola's voice cracked as she read her instruments. "Hull breaches on multiple decks. We're losing air on 7 levels. Emergency bulkheads are sealing, but we have crew trapped in those sections." The Resilience shook violently as another barrage of energy weapons struck their port side. Hannah could hear the groaning of metal as the ship's structure began to fail. Worse news was coming from the communications station. Commander Park shouted over the noise, "We're getting emergency signals from the colonies. Earth is under attack. New Shanghai colony is under attack. All human worlds are reporting enemy fleets." The full horror of the situation hit Hannah like a physical blow. This wasn't just an ambush at the training exercise. The Council had planned the complete destruction of humanity. While they had gathered every human warship in this remote location, enemy forces had moved against every human world simultaneously. "How many colonies are responding?" she asked, dreading the answer. "None, Commander. The signals cut off after the first distress calls. We're not receiving any more transmissions." Dr. Kim Min-ho looked up from his science station, his face grim but determined. "Commander, I need permission to activate the Prometheus Protocol. It's our only chance." Hannah's blood ran cold. The Prometheus Protocol was humanity's most secret project. Even she had only learned about it 6 months ago during a classified briefing. It was a quantum communication system that could connect every human facility instantly, regardless of distance. They had built it in secret, hidden beneath research stations and disguised as civilian equipment. "That's a violation of every treaty we signed with the Council," she said. "The Council just tried to murder our entire species," Kim replied. "I think we can break their rules now." Another explosion rocked the ship, and Hannah saw 3 more human vessels disappear in balls of fire. The Council had played their hand perfectly. Humanity's entire military force was trapped and being systematically destroyed while their homeworlds burned. "Do it," she ordered. Kim's hands moved quickly over his console, activating systems that officially didn't exist. Deep within the Resilience, hidden quantum transmitters came online, across the galaxy, identical devices on Earth, on every human colony, and in secret. Facilities that the Council had never discovered began receiving the same signal. "Prometheus Protocol is active," Kim reported. "All hidden networks are responding. We have quantum communication with every surviving human facility." Hannah grabbed the communication device. Her voice was steady despite the chaos around her. "This is Commander Lee Hannah, To all human forces, Condition Black is now in effect. The Council has betrayed us. They are attempting to exterminate our species. Full military mobilization is authorized. No mercy, no survivors. On the bridge of the Hegemony flagship, Admiral Kethfer watched the destruction with satisfaction. The human fleet was burning exactly as planned. Their primitive shields had collapsed within minutes, and their ships were being destroyed faster than they could react. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "human fleet strength is down to 60% and falling. It cannot mount any effective resistance." "Excellent," Kethfer said. "And the colony strikes?" "All proceeding as planned. Human worlds are being bombarded simultaneously. There should be no survivors to carry word of what happened here." But then his officer's expression changed to confusion. "Sir, I'm detecting something strange. There are energy signatures appearing throughout human space. Ships that weren't there before are suddenly active." Kethfer moved to the sensor display. What he saw made no sense. Human vessels were appearing on sensors across dozens of star systems, all moving with perfect coordination. It was impossible. No species had communication technology that could coordinate forces across such distances instantly. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. Before anyone could answer, every council ship received the same transmission. Commander Hanna's voice cut through their secure channels as if their encryption meant nothing. "Admiral Kethfer, you made a critical error. You assumed that because we sought peace, we had forgotten how to make war. You thought our diplomacy was weakness. You were wrong." The transmission continued, and Kethfer felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries: fear. "You wanted to see what humans do when cornered, wanted to learn what we're capable of when survival is at stake. Congratulations, you're about to find out why that was the last mistake you'll ever make." Deep beneath the City of Seoul, Minister of Defense Oh Tae-young walked through corridors that officially did not exist. The underground facility stretched for miles beneath the Korean capital, its walls humming with the sound of machinery that had been silent for decades. Now, 3 days after the Council's betrayal, every machine was running at full capacity. "Show me the production numbers," Oh commanded as he entered the main control room. Colonel Bae Suzy handed him a data tablet, her face serious. "Sir, all 27 hidden facilities are now operational. Our automated factories are building warships 3 times faster than our official shipyards ever could. The AI systems are processing battle data from every engagement and updating our tactics in real time." Oh studied the numbers with satisfaction. The Council had made a fatal mistake. It assumed that humanity's peaceful nature meant they were unprepared for war. They had no idea that beneath every human research station, every civilian outpost, every seemingly innocent facility, lay the sleeping machinery of war. "What about the special projects?" Oh asked. "Dr. Kim's team has activated everything, sir. The weapons we've been developing in secret for the past 20 years are being deployed across the galaxy." On the lunar surface, Dr. Kim Min-ho stood in a control room that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Holographic displays showed the galaxy-wide conflict in real time, with human forces represented by blue dots and council fleets in red. The red dots were steadily disappearing. "Deploy the hunter swarms to Sector 7. Kim ordered his team. "And prepare the gravity disruptors for the hegemony supply lines." His assistant, Dr. Li Gu, looked up from her console. "Sir, the hunter swarms are performing beyond expectations. They've consumed 3 asteroids and built over 5,000 drone units. The Council has no defense against them." Kim nodded grimly. The hunter swarms were humanity's most terrifying creation, self-replicating machines that could break down any material and use it to build more of themselves. Released near Council supply routes. They would consume everything in their path while growing stronger with each engagement. "And the dimensional weapons?" Kim asked. "Ready for deployment? Can now strike any target in the galaxy instantly by folding space-time. The Council's fleets won't even see the attacks coming." These weapons represented decades of secret research. While humanity had publicly focused on exploration and peaceful development, their greatest minds had been working on technologies that would make them the most dangerous species in the galaxy. The Council's betrayal had simply given them permission to reveal what they had been hiding on a hidden command ship drifting in deep space. Commander Lee Hanna watched her tactical display with cold satisfaction. The vessel was one of dozens that had been disguised as destroyed wrecks after the initial attack. Now they were revealing themselves, striking at Council forces with weapons the aliens had never seen before. Captain Park's status on the stealth? Fleet, she said. Park Jimin smiled for the first time since the betrayal. All 67 ships are operational, Commander. The Council still thinks we only had 300 vessels total. They have no idea about our hidden fleet and the infiltration units. In position throughout Council space, they've been there for years disguised as civilian traders and diplomats. Now they're activating and taking out key installations from within. Hannah had to admire the long-term planning. For decades, while publicly pursuing peaceful contact, humanity had been preparing for exactly this scenario. They had infiltrated Council space, built hidden weapons, and created backup plans for every possible betrayal. The Council made one critical error, she told her staff. They assumed that because we chose diplomacy, we had forgotten how to fight. But humans have never forgotten how to wage war, simply chose not to. Lieutenant Yun Sola, now serving as intelligence coordinator, brought up a new display. Commander, we're receiving reports from all sectors. Council fleets are in full retreat from 7-star systems. Their command structure is collapsing. Show me the battle analysis, Hannah ordered. The holographic display revealed the truth. Human forces were striking with precision that seemed almost supernatural. They targeted command ships first, destroying the Council's ability to coordinate their vast fleets. Then they hit supply lines, leaving enemy forces stranded without fuel or ammunition. Finally, they eliminated the scattered remnants with overwhelming firepower. How are we anticipating their moves so perfectly? Yoon asked. Because we've been studying them for 50 years, Hannah replied. Every diplomatic meeting, every cultural exchange, every bit of technology they shared with us, we analyzed it. All. We know their tactics better than they do. On the hegemony flagship, Admiral Kethver stared at his tactical display in disbelief. 3 days ago, he had commanded the greatest military force in galactic history. Now more than half his ships were gone, destroyed by an enemy that seemed to appear from nowhere and strike with impossible accuracy. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we're detecting massive energy signatures throughout human space. They're not just rebuilding their fleet, they're building something far larger than anything we've ever seen. Kethver felt a chill run through his crystalline body. The humans weren't just fighting back. They were preparing for something much worse. Across the galaxy, humanity's true power was awakening. The peaceful explorers were gone, replaced by something far more dangerous, a species that had learned to combine their natural creativity with the cold efficiency of war machines. The Council was about to discover what humanity was truly capable of when they stopped pretending to be harmless. Admiral. Kethver gripped the edges of his command table as another red marker appeared on the tactical display. The 17th Council fleet had just gone dark, their signals cut off mid-transmission. Around him, his staff worked frantically at their stations, but their faces showed the same growing desperation he felt. Sir, we've lost contact with the Synthesis Union's main battle group, reported his communications officer. Their last transmission indicated they were under attack by unknown human vessels. Kethver's forearms trembled with rage and disbelief. 2 weeks ago, he had commanded the greatest military force in galactic history. The Council fleets numbered in the tens of thousands, supported by countless supply bases and defended by weapons that had kept the peace for a millennium. Now, more than half of that force was gone. How is this possible? He demanded, turning to his chief strategist. We outnumbered them 20-1. We struck first with complete surprise. They had no chance to prepare. The strategist, a tall being from the Void-Touched clan, studied the battle reports with confusion. Admiral, they're not fighting us the way we expected. They're not trying to match our fleets in direct combat. Instead, they're attacking our infrastructure. The truth was becoming clear as more reports arrived. Human forces weren't targeting Council worlds or populations. They were systematically destroying everything that made the Council's military machine function. Shipyards that had built vessels for centuries were reduced to floating debris. Command centers that had coordinated fleets across the galaxy were silent. Supply lines that had fed the Council's war effort for millennia were cut. They're not just winning battles, the strategist continued. They're destroying our ability to fight at all. Captain Park Jimin guided his squadron through the wreckage of what had once been the hegemony's largest supply depot. The massive facility had been reduced to twisted metal and scattered debris, but his sensors showed no civilian casualties. The human attack had been precise, targeting only military installations while leaving nearby civilian stations untouched. Control, this is Strike Team 7, Park reported through the quantum communication system. Supply Depot Eco 7 is destroyed. No civilian casualties detected. Commander Hannah's voice came back clearly despite the vast distance. Confirmed, Captain. Proceed to your next target. Remember, we're not them. We don't make war on innocents. Park felt a grim satisfaction at the order. The Council had tried to exterminate humanity's entire species, including women and children, but humans would not sink to that level. Would destroy the Council's ability to wage war without becoming monsters themselves. Sir, his tactical officer reported, we're detecting Council civilian transports evacuating from the system. Should we intercept? Let them go, Park ordered. Our quarrel is with their military, not their families. But while humans showed mercy to civilians, they offered none to the military forces that had betrayed them. Council officers found themselves facing an enemy that seemed to predict their every move. Human ships appeared where they shouldn't be, struck with weapons that defied understanding, and vanished before counterattacks could be organized. Lieutenant Yoon Sola worked at her station aboard the hidden command ship, analyzing intelligence data from across the galaxy. The quantum communication network gave her access to information from every human unit simultaneously, creating a tactical picture that no enemy could match. Commander, she called to Hannah, I've located Admiral Kethfer's flagship. He's attempting to regroup the surviving Council forces at the Nexus Station. Hannah studied the tactical display showing the massive space station where the Council's remaining fleets were gathering. It was heavily defended and positioned at the center of their territory. Taking it would require a direct assault against overwhelming odds. How many ships can we bring to bear? She asked. Every available vessel, Commander, the stealth fleet, the rebuilding squadrons, and the new ships from the hidden factories. We can coordinate them all through the quantum network. Hannah made her decision. Signal all human forces. We end this now. All ships converge on the Nexus Station. It's time to show the Council what happens when you betray humanity. The final battle began as hundreds of human vessels materialized around the Nexus Station. The Council's defenders, expecting a traditional assault, found themselves facing tactics they had never encountered. Human ships moved with perfect coordination, their attacks timed to the millisecond through quantum communication. Admiral Kethfer watched from his flagship as his defensive lines crumbled. Human vessels struck his command ships first, destroying his ability to coordinate the defense. Then they targeted his heavy weapons platforms, eliminating his firepower advantage. Finally, they closed in on his flagship itself. Sir, our shields are failing, his tactical officer reported. We're detecting human boarding ships approaching. Kethfer looked around his command center at the officers who had served him for decades. The pride of the hegemony reduced to this. Signal surrender, he ordered quietly. We cannot win this fight. The battle lasted less than an hour. The mighty hegemony flagship, once the symbol of galactic power, drifted powerless in space. Human boarding parties secured the vessel with professional efficiency. Taking prisoner an admiral who had ruled star systems for centuries, as Kethfer was led away in restraints, he realized the full scope of his failure. The Council had awakened something they should have left sleeping. Humanity's age of dominance was just beginning. 6 months had passed since the Council's betrayal, and the galaxy looked completely different. Where once mighty alien fleets had patrolled the stars, now only twisted metal and debris floated through space. The proud armadas that had ruled for 1,000 years were nothing more than scrap. Scattered across dozens of star systems, Commander Lee Hannah walked slowly through the Grand Council chambers, her footsteps echoing in the vast hall. The room had been built to impress, with towering columns and walls covered in the symbols of 7 ancient species. Now it served a different purpose entirely. She wore the uniform of Supreme Commander of Human Forces, a title that had not existed. 6 months ago, before her, on the polished floor where the Council had once debated the fate of worlds, knelt the surviving members of the galactic government. Those who had chosen surrender over destruction now waited to learn their fate. Their proud heads were bowed, their ornate robes torn and dirty. "You made a choice," Hannah said, her voice carrying clearly through the chamber and across the galaxy, via quantum broadcast. "You chose to try to destroy us rather than live alongside us. You thought our desire for peace meant we were weak? You were wrong." Admiral Kethver, the former commander of the Hegemony fleet, raised his head to look at her. His crystalline skin was cracked and dull, his forearms bound with energy restraints.
"Oh.
"What happens to us now? Will you do to us what we tried to do?" "To you?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Hannah knew that every human in the galaxy was listening to her answer. They had lost friends, family members, entire colonies to the Council's betrayal. Many wanted revenge, wanted to see the Council species wiped out completely. "No," she said after a long moment, "we will not become the monsters you tried to make us. But we also will not allow you to threaten any species ever again." She turned away from the kneeling prisoners to address the cameras that would carry her words throughout the galaxy. "Speak now to every species, on every world, in every system. The Council's rule is over. Humanity now governs this galaxy. But we will not rule as tyrants." Minister Oteyon stepped forward from where he had been waiting. The former defense minister now bore the title of First Administrator of the Galactic Government. His face was serious as he activated a holographic display showing the new structure of galactic power. "The age of the Council is finished," O announced. "The age of humanity begins today. But this will not be an age of fear or oppression. Any species that desires peace will find it with us. Any that chooses war will face the same fate as the Council." The surviving Council members listened to these words with a mixture of relief and terror. They had expected complete extermination, the same fate they had planned for humanity. Instead, they were being offered something they had never shown to others: mercy. "What about our people?" asked Vexandra of the Synthesis Union, her serpentine form coiled in submission. "Our worlds, our colonies. Your civilian populations will be protected," Hannah replied. "But your military forces will be disbanded. Your weapons will be destroyed. Your ability to wage war will be eliminated permanently." Dr. Kim Minho approached from the side of the chamber, his scientific equipment recording everything for the historical archives. He'd been present at the betrayal, had activated the systems that allowed humanity to strike back. Now he served as chief advisor to the new government. "Commander," he said quietly, "the other species are asking what this means for them." "The ones who are not part of the Council?" Hannah nodded. She had expected this question. There were hundreds of species in the galaxy, most of them smaller and weaker than the Council races. They had lived under Council rule for generations, paying taxes and following laws they had no part in making. "To the free species of the galaxy," she said, looking directly into the broadcast cameras, "you have nothing to fear from us. We offer you the same choice we offered the Council: peace or war. Choose peace, and you will be welcomed as equals." The broadcast ended, leaving the chamber in silence. The former Council members were led away to comfortable but secure quarters. They would live, but they would never again hold power over others. As the chamber emptied, Dr. Kim approached Hannah with a question that had been troubling him. "Do you think they will learn? The other species, I mean? Do you think they understand what happened here?" Hannah walked to the great window that looked out over the capital city. Human ships patrolled the skies where Council vessels had once flown. Human administrators worked in buildings that had housed alien bureaucrats for centuries. The galaxy had new masters now. "They will learn," she said finally. "They will learn what the Council learned too late. That underestimating humanity is not just a mistake, it is the last mistake they will ever make. The galaxy had a new order now, not built on the arrogance of ancient powers, but on the hard-won wisdom of a species that understood both the value of peace and the terrible price of betrayal. Humanity had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as the guardians of a better future.